Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And filling in for Terry Stiles, I'm Julie Hogan. In this week's news, a public hearing is set for the old Burger King site. The village finally hires a new manager, and Village Council will receive a regular report concerning officials' debt status.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. More than $25,000 in unpaid water bills is owed to Oxford Village by its residents. Officials want those bills paid or they're going to start shutting off water. Currently, 90 properties have delinquent water and sewer bills that exceed the village's $150 limit. The village sends out approximately 1,300 water sewer bills each month. If you are one of those who are delinquent in paying your water bills, take heed.
After months of sifting through resumes and interviewing candidates, the search is over. It's official. Joseph Mador is the new Oxford manager. Council voted 4-0 to approve a 6-page employment agreement with Mador, effective December 18th. Mador is eager to start his new job, and after a very long search, village officials are just as delighted to have him accept the position.
To make sure Oxford Village elected or appointed officials are paying their bills to the village, the council directed interim manager Evan Teach to provide a bi-monthly report showing those who are in compliance and those who are not. The first report will be presented to the council meeting slated for 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, December 12th. The village charter was changed by residents at the last election, preventing people from seeking out or holding elected and appointed offices if they're indebted to the municipality for the period of 90 days or longer. If it also includes delinquent water, sewer bills, property taxes, fines, and other financial obligations to the village.
A public hearing is scheduled by the Oxford Township Planning Commission on December 14th at 7 p.m. to review a request for special land use by a used car dealership. Request would allow Clean Cars Inc., a used vehicle dealership, to move from the west side of M24 to the east side, formerly the Burger King site, on M24. For details, be sure to attend the December 14th Planning Commission meeting.
About 100 folks attended a fundraiser Sunday afternoon at Collier Lanes that yielded over $3,000 to benefit Oxford High School's special education classrooms. The funds will be used to help educate people about autism spectrum disorder and encourage everyone to focus on abilities, not disabilities.
The Greater Michigan chapter of Alzheimer's Association in Addison Township is currently seeking volunteers to serve as support group facilitators. The Alzheimer's Association provides supportive programs and services to help people with Alzheimer's and their caregivers deal with the disease and its impact on their lives. Each chapter and its nationwide network offers information, referrals, and care, consultation, support groups, safety services, and education. For more information about volunteer opportunities, contact Addison Township.
As you shoppers head to the stores and take to cyberspace to do your holiday shopping, the staff at Real Estate One hope you will consider donating a gift to Toys for Tots. The Oxford branch of Real Estate One is collecting new unwrapped toys for the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots campaign at its office in downtown Oxford. Collections will be accepted during regular office hours until Thursday, December 14th.
And that's Oxford News for this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website, occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course, your regular cable channels, Charter 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with Sports Report. Then John Oetjens with his Schooling Around program. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Julie Hogan. Thanks for watching Oxford News This Week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Again, remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors plans to use carbon fiber for the beds of its redesigned full-size pickups to improve performance and reduce weight, Automotive News has learned. Two sources familiar with the company's plans confirm the use of the high-strength material, which has primarily been reserved for luxury vehicles and sports cars because it costs significantly more than steel or aluminum. Carbon fiber, according to one source, is expected to be used as part of a mix of materials for the box of the pickups, including aluminum. The truck beds could mark GM's first use of carbon fiber reinforced thermoplastic, a product the automaker announced it was co-developing with Japan-based Teijin Limited in 2011. Carbon fiber is considerably stronger and lighter than steel and aluminum, but it's more expensive mostly because of a long, labor-intensive production process. As a result, the composite is used only for select parts in low-volume vehicles. The carbon fiber bed is expected to be among a significant number of changes in materials for the Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra pickups to meet progressively stricter fuel economy regulations and better position them against crosstown rival and truck leader Ford Motor Company. Ford shifted its F-Series pickups, including the full-size F-150, to lightweight aluminum alloy bodies starting in 2014. GM, as first reported by the Wall Street Journal, is anticipated to begin offering the carbon fiber beds within the next 2 years. The Journal reported that the carbon fiber beds would go in premium versions of the pickups, but more efficient production processes could help the automaker eventually offer carbon fiber beds in lower trims. The redesigned Silverado and Sierra pickups are expected to be unveiled soon and go on sale next year without the carbon fiber beds. It was unclear how much the carbon fiber would add to the price of the trucks. The GM vehicle lineup has been on a massive diet since the current generation pickups were unveiled in 2012. GM has significantly cut weight of its redesigned vehicles from more than 200 pounds off the sedans such as the Chevrolet Volt and Cruze to a 700-pound decline for the downsized GMC Acadia. The workout regimen started when GM CEO Mary Barra was head of the company's product development in 2013. Then GM CEO Dan Akerson vowed to cut the weight of the new vehicle models by 15% by the 2016 model year. Many analysts were surprised GM did little to actually lower the weight of the pickups, which hadn't been redesigned in 6 years. In our next story, Budweiser beer maker Anheuser-Busch has reserved 40 of Tesla's all-electric semi-trucks as it seeks to reduce fuel cost and vehicle emissions, the brewer said on December 7th. It was likely the largest publicly announced order Tesla has received for its electric trucks, which are scheduled to be in production by 2019. At Anheuser-Busch, we are constantly seeking new ways to make our supply chain more sustainable, efficient, and innovative, says James Sambrot, Senior Director of Logistics Strategy. This investment in Tesla semi-trucks helps us to achieve the goals while improving road safety and lowering our environmental impact. The U.S. subsidiary of Anheuser-Busch, InBev NV, plans to use the trucks for shipments to wholesalers within the 500-mile range promised by Tesla CEO Elon Musk. A range of trucking, grocery, and retail companies have reserved at least 116 Tesla semi-trucks, according to Reuters Daily, including the Anheuser-Busch's 40. Last month, Tesla received orders for its electric trucks from high-profile companies such as Walmart Stores Incorporated and fleet operator J.B. Hunt Transport Services Incorporated. In our last story, a new in-car application from General Motors that lets drivers order coffee and browse for hotels while behind the wheel has been met with an outcry from a prominent safety group. The app, dubbed Marketplace, allows drivers to browse deals and place orders through an in-dash touchscreen with several major brands such as Starbucks Incorporated or TGI Fridays, Priceline.com, and Dunkin' Donuts. National Safety Council President Deborah Horstman says the app will contribute to distracted driving, already a factor in a quarter of all vehicle crashes, and hurt efforts to stem auto fatalities, which grew 5.6% to more than 37,000 in the U.S. last year. There's nothing about this that's safe, Horstman said. If this is why they want Wi-Fi in the car, we're going to see fatality numbers go up even higher than they are now. GM said December 5th it would launch the app on millions of 2017 and 2018 model year vehicles equipped with the Wi-Fi hotspots and compatible systems. Wow. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Are you a movie buff? A gamer? A fan of music? Or do you just enjoy all things media? Then you should watch Media Maniacs on Monday through Friday at 3:30 and at 11:30 on the weekends, right before the all-night movies. Remember, Media Maniacs. They review everything, and they're just crazy enough to do it.
I'm John Oetjens, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. Besides the success of the recent millage vote, more encouraging news for Oxford schools, an increase in students. That's not always easy in these days of changing populations. Our superintendent, Tim Throne, spells it out.
Actual increase FTE, which is full-time equivalent, was a little over 260.
Where did most of that come from? Did you notice?
Far majority was through shared time, which is a part of the virtual academy. So I want to say every school increased in their enrollment except high school, Bridges, and OES. Those three were down. All other schools or buildings were up.
Tim feels pretty good about it.
Still a lot of districts in the state of Michigan either struggling to maintain their student count or their student count's going down. And the last 3 years we've just continually grown our student count. Last year our seated count in general was down about 50 students. This year it's up, and so just from a traditional seated standpoint, it's about even. Where we continue to really see our growth is in that virtual realm, and in that hybrid realm where some students are taking virtual classes and some are taking face-to-face seated classes.
Another thing that's pretty exciting is a new international student program, VIP. It's not what you think. VIP stands for Virtual International Program. Jill Lamond is one of our international student coordinators. She explains whom we are marketing to.
Well, many of our seated students have come from China, and we still are very focused on the Chinese student base. We are also going out and reaching out into India quite a bit. Our understanding is that virtual learning is already a celebrated option in India and very well understood. Also, issues of access to the technology and to the websites that we use and the learning platforms. For example, a lot of our teachers use YouTube to upload video comments, and there are some access issues in China. So we're really pushing the virtual programming in India to begin with. We're also looking at Brazil because that's another big virtual market for virtual learning.
So why are we doing this?
The mindset being that for students to come here for only 1 year, like we are limited with our federal visa regulations, they don't always get the experience that they want or the depth of the experience that they want. And so we want to provide them with more academic options sooner, and number one, so that they have the English language ability when they arrive, and number two, so that they have the content and the coursework necessary to earn an Oxford diploma. We never want to water down or in any way diminish the credentials of an Oxford diploma. And so for students coming for 1 year, it's great if they best prepare for those courses seated, they best prepare for their seated courses in virtual coursework.
Jill gives us an idea of what's offered.
The Virtual International Program can offer any of our online electives, but we're more so pushing the core courses, a lot of English language arts courses and language electives, and then also courses like U.S. Civics, United States History, and government courses, because those are the types of courses that our students from international partners come without, because they haven't had access to them at their home schools in most cases.
In terms of the overall international student program, virtual and otherwise, how many kids are we talking about?
When it comes to seated students, our understanding from stakeholders both in the community and within the staff of the high school that we probably would never want to exceed maybe around 5% seems to be about a magic number, which right now we have somewhere around 1,600 students, so we'd never want to go higher than 80. And really, for comfortability and just to be able to give the students the experience that we want to give them, we probably would keep the number closer in the 50 range. But for virtual, the possibilities are endless because we're not affected by capacity issues whatsoever, and we can grow as big as we'd like. So I think virtual we want to make, as big as we can sustain a quality program, and we'll see what that feels like as we get our inaugural cohort hopefully coming up this fall.
More on schooling around. Holiday charity efforts are ramping up at all of our schools, not the least of which is Leonard Elementary. Principal Paul McDevitt tells us about the Leonard Giving Tree.
We anonymously contact different families. Some of them know, some of them don't, and we organize them to come up with gift ideas for their children. That includes the gender of the child, their age, certain sizes, and things they might be interested in getting. We then put these ornaments on the tree that are anonymous that just say, for this example, this one, family number 15, and it's Wildcat gear for a boy. Shirt size and pant size is on there, so they're looking for Wildcat gear. So someone might come and pull this ornament off, purchase some Wildcat gear for that child, wrap it up in a box, stick it on, and return to the school, having no idea who that gift is for. For example, here's one that came in this morning that's wrapped and finished. It's boy age 5 books for family number 3. So they bring it to the school anonymously. I contact the families before we go on Christmas break, and they come and they pick up their gifts for their children.
So do the kids pick one of the tags off the tree, go home and get whatever it is they have to
Sometimes the kids do. Usually it's the parents. This was up during conferences, so a lot of parents came through. But what makes it really unique is our business partners with the community. This morning, this tree was filled with ornaments, and the Addison Township Fire Department came in and took them all.
So in this case, the bear tree is a good thing.
Yeah, and so we had to get a new one. We put more on this morning because we had a couple of new families that came in. But Cooper Standard does a lot to support our school. They come in. We have a lot of just families that come through, and some people that don't even have kids here anymore still come in and look at our tree and take ornaments off the tree.
They've been doing this out at Leonard for over 8 years now. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
What's happening, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright here once again with the Sports Report. Not a long report this week, however, we did kick off a few sports seasons at home this last week, so let's dive in and see what we got. First off, the girls basketball team kicked off their first home game last Friday, taking on River Row High School. The JV club played first as usual and set the pace for a long season ahead with a win in a low-scoring game, 18-13. The varsity girls then took the court and put on a show between the two teams. It was very close and both sides played phenomenal. However, we fell short with a final score of 59-57. Next week, we will have details on the girls taking on Rochester Adams at home, and then the girls go on the road on the 12th and take on Stony Creek. Best of luck to the athletes and coaches. We are excited for the season to come. The boys basketball kicked off their home season on Tuesday against Romeo as well. We made it out there to get coverage like we did the girls. However, we fell short on the scoreboard, both JV and varsity. Now the boys will hit the road and take on Lake Orion, and then we return home on the 15th to take on Lapeer. And last but not least, the hockey team has home games coming up. We will report on the Notre Dame Prep matchup next week when those results come in, and we will be headed to the Detroit Skate Club on the 16th to cover and watch us take on Royal Oak. Be sure to make your way out to Bloomfield and root on our Oxford and Avondale United Hockey Club. And that should just about wrap up this week's report. For more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. Plenty of stats, details, and game breakdowns all there at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at occtv.org. We post all of our coverage of the games on our YouTube page, along with many other programs we put together for you. Once again, that is occtv.org. So I want to thank you all for watching for now and remind you to tune in next time and to make sure that you get out to these events this winter season. Thank you all for watching. I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, it's alive! By firing a set of thrusters that have been gathering dust for more than 3 decades, NASA has extended the lifetime of the Voyager 1 mission by a few years. The interstellar probe is 13 billion miles away, moving at a speed of over 10.5 miles per second, but it still manages to send messages back to Earth. In order to do that, it needs to keep its antenna pointed towards us. After 40 years in space, the thrusters that orient the spacecraft and keep its antenna aiming in the right direction have started to break down. NASA engineers decided to try firing the craft's backup thrusters, which have been dormant for 37 years. Then, they had to wait 19 hours and 35 minutes to get a signal from Voyager 1 at the edge of our solar system. The long shot worked, and NASA scientists plan to fully switch over to the backup thrusters in 2020. The Voyager flight team dug up old records and studied the original software before tackling the test. As each milestone in the test was achieved, the excitement grew, and said propulsion engineer Todd Barber, "The mood was one of relief, joy, and incredulity after witnessing these well-rested thrusters pick up the baton as if no time had passed at all," he said in a statement. By switching out the thrusters, Voyager 1 may be able to keep sending us messages for a little while longer, that is, until around 2025. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 is the only spacecraft traveling through interstellar space, the region beyond our solar system. Voyager 2 is close behind on its heels, nearly 11 billion miles from Earth. The thruster test worked so well that NASA expects to try it on Voyager 2 in the future. Wow. In our next story, strange crystal magnets could lead to supercharged computers. Historically, faster processors have been made by cramming more transistors onto silicon chips. However, there are limits to this, and we have replaced silicon with magnetic solid-state hard drives, but they too have physical limits. To store data in such drives, the spin of tiny magnets are flipped up or down to represent the ones and zeros of binary code. But these ferromagnets have a practical limit. They can only reorient themselves about 1 billion times a second without vast amounts of energy input, limiting how fast they can efficiently save data. Now, a team led by Tomáš Jungwirth at the Czech Academy of Sciences has created a way to write data 1,000 times faster on copper manganese arsenide crystals, a kind of material called antiferromagnets, in which adjacent atoms have spins in opposite directions. The researchers made antiferromagnet squares about the width of a spider silk and to store each bit of data. Then they ran extremely short electric pulses lasting about 1/1000th of a second through each of them to flip the spins in each square. By firing pulses in quick succession, the spins could be flipped at about 1 trillion times a second, they say. It would take 1,000 times as much energy to flip a ferromagnet this fast as Jacek Fergina at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana. He says this new material shows promise, especially as the experiment was done at room temperature and not at absolute zero like a lot of stuff. Well, then our last story, birds fly better if they have big hearts. The best flyers, like hovering hummingbirds, have the largest. When a hummingbird hovers, it beats its wings in a figure of 8 pattern up to 80 times per second, much like a helicopter. This is energetically costly, says Roberto Nespolo at the Austral University of Chile. But most birds don't fly this way. Some flap their wings up and down like geese. Others, like eagles, soar on updrafts of hot air, while some ground dwellers, like pheasants, undergo only short bouts of flapping. In theory, birds using more costly forms of flying should have larger hearts. The bigger the heart, the more blood a bird can pump in its flight muscles. To find out, Nespolo and his team grouped 915 bird species by flight type and compared their hearts. Hummingbirds had the biggest hearts for their body size at 3% of their mass. In contrast, a pelican's heart is just 0.8% of its mass. The sizes of birds' hearts matched their flight mode. The optimal size for hovering was 2.43 times that for flapping and 3 times higher than gliding. It is surprising that flapping flyers had similar hearts to gliders, says Rebecca Kimball at the University of Florida. I would have assumed that flapping flight would have required a lot more energy, but it didn't. And that's all for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Connie from Connie's Kitchen. I just wanted to remind you to watch us on OCTV and Uverse and okay, cut. This is Connie from Connie's Kitchen at Treetop Lodge, reminding you to watch my program on OCTV and on Charter and cut. Hi, it's Connie from Connie's Kitchen here at Treetop Lodge, reminding you to watch us on OCTV and YouTube and Charter and...
All right, cut. I think you forgot your lines, Connie.
I don't have lines.
Should have called lines.
Lines, there we go. Lines. Okay, 3, 2, 1, me.
Here we go. 3, 2.
Join me here at Treetop Lodge. This is Connie from Connie's Kitchen, reminding you that you can watch us on OCTV and YouTube, Charter Channel 199, Uverse Channel 99. Can you imagine if we had to go through this every time? Yeah, right? Okay, see ya. This is Connie from Connie's Kitchen here at Treetop Lodge, and I want to remind you to join me here at the Lodge for Connie's Kitchen on OCTV, on YouTube, on Charter Channel 199, on Uverse Channel 99, and enjoy the show.